It's a Tuesday. It can only mean one thing. It's time for Super League Raw Weekly. On tonight's show, we announce the team of March, also the coach and the player of the month. What is going on at Hull FC? Cartwright leaving, McNamara potentially coming in, and Nathan Cleary the future. We'll be discussing that. Banging or hanging returns with all the news, all the gossip and all the transfers. Can't see a thing, Rhett. What is the point in all this technology if decisions aren't going to be made during the game? We'll be discussing that. What would Oliver say? Well, we'll be finding that out this evening also. And of course, Super League returns for round number 8 this weekend. All this and more. It's time for Super League Raw Weekly. Tuesdays are weekly. This programme is proudly sponsored by BYD, the #1 electric vehicle in the world and the fastest growing brand in the UK car market. BYD and Super League Raw, building our dreams together. And the home of Super League Raw, the Bluebell in Warrington. Make this your pre- and post-game destination for the best food and drink in town. So good evening and welcome to Super League Raw Weekly on this Tuesday evening. Where else would you be, I say, ladies and gentlemen? Where else would you be? If you're watching for the first time, subscribe right now. Don't forget to like, share and comment. And by all accounts, if you're watching this on YouTube, if you swipe left now, you can hype us. That'd be nice. Go on, give us a little bit of a hype. That'd be absolutely marvellous. With me as always this evening are the three musketeers, Mr. Nixon, Mr. Sale and Mr. Scholes. Good evening, gentlemen.
Good evening, everyone.
Happy days indeed. Great to have your company as always. Of course, another packed show this evening. And don't forget, you members, tonight, of course, the after show party. Just use the social link. I will repost it at the end of the show. All you've got to do is follow that. Of course, if you are a Team Talk member or you are a Six Again member, you should have access to our WhatsApp group. So if you're not, then you need to let me know. I think a few have slipped through the net, it would appear. So do please get in touch with me so that you can come and have a chat right after we've finished every Tuesday night. If you're listening to us on a podcast, we are live every Tuesday night on YouTube. So if you are at home on a Tuesday night, you don't have to wait to the car on a Wednesday. You can watch us on a Tuesday live. Right then, boys, it's that time of the month again. And a little bit, because of course we've got no team of the week this week because it's Challenge Cup, I thought I'd keep the team of the month of March for tonight. Why not? Why not? We could actually review it even more because we've got no team of the week. But before we do that, coach of the month for March. And the coach of the month for March here at Super League Raw is It's Darryl Powell of Wakefield Trinity, a perfect 3 wins from 3. The only coach in Super League to achieve that in Super League. He ended February in 9th position with a minus 11 points difference. He ended April in 4th with a plus 9 points difference. He's got the second best defence in the league currently. And believe it or not, Darryl Powell has a win ratio at Wakefield Trinity of 75% since he joined the club, boys. So Darryl Powell gets the vote this month, boys. Greg, I'll start with you. Happy with that?
Well, you can't argue with the stats, Dave. Yeah. To win all 3 is a good achievement. He's a good coach, is Darryl Powell. I've always liked him. He had a bit of a hiccup at Warrington, as we all know. We won't go into that. But yeah, great performance from Wakey. Really unlucky on Sunday, I thought. I'm sure our mate Sam Burgess must have pushed him quite close, but as you say, he had that defeat at Leeds, which kind of blotted the copybook. So, yeah, can't argue with the stats there, Dave. Well done.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, look, Steph, there's no doubt about it, mate. People will go, yeah, but hang on, look who he beat. He beat All FC 14-10. He beat the Leopards 18-14 and then beat York 14-26. And some people will say, well, some of those opposition maybe shouldn't be as challenging for Wakefield Trinity. But the bottom line is, Steph, he's won 3 out of 3.
Yeah, and if you look, they were 6th last year, were they, in the playoffs?
Correct.
So Lee and Hull were, 2 teams that were there around them, weren't they?
Yeah.
Lee a bit higher as well, so you could say that's an excellent win for them on last year as well. But no, there's no doubt, he's been phenomenal since going to Wakefield. Made a massive difference. They've got a bit of a dream team with, Matt Ellis, the chairman, him and the coach, and Steve Mills as the main recruiter there. So I think a lot of that's down to those other people as well as Darryl's coaching. But no doubt about it, what Wakefield are doing is fantastic for the game, and really chuffed that he gets the Super League Raw award for March.
Absolutely. And Joel, of course, Greg said there about his time at Warrington, but what Darryl has shown in the last 3 seasons, really, what he achieved in the Championship, what he achieved last year, and the fact that they're going again, and we'll get to the Challenge Cup later in the show, the game this weekend. But, he's turning Wakefield into a force, and his recruitment has been first class. It's great to see Darryl, as an English coach, doing so well.
Yeah, he seems to have a thing for doing well in West Yorkshire clubs, especially in the district of Wakefield. He's done it in both the clubs there, and done a good job. The name Classy Cass was definitely appropriate when he was coaching in Cass for a couple of seasons when they were flying high. And what he's doing at Wakefield is helped, whether it's part of him or the people around him, but he's obviously had a part of it, putting some of the biggest names to come to Wakefield. And anybody who's never heard of little old Wakefield, how would they possibly have managed to get the signings that they have? I think any club would be salivating at some of the names that have come across in his tenure. But if he wants to come over to Huddersfield at any point, he's more than welcome.
He's up where he is, Joe.
He is, absolutely. His record speaks for himself. Other than his time at Warrington, we said, didn't we, the other week, that a coach can be a great coach, but if the club doesn't fit him, it can sometimes look bad on him. And we all know he's a very good coach, and I'm really pleased for him.
Yeah, Gary Hutch never missing a thing. My apologies on the graphic. Ended April. I meant to say ended March. Ended March 4th. Ended March 4th. I do apologise, Gary. Thanks for keeping me on my toes. That's very kind of you. Right, okay, boys. So, of course, that's the coach of the month. Now it's time for team of the month. Now, just let's remind everybody what we do here at Super League. I do this because we might have some new people watching us this evening or listening to us for the first time as a podcast. So what is the Super League Raw Team month? How is this comprised? Well, it's comprised quite simply. The player needs to have played all the games in that month. That's a caveat, because this is about consistency of performance in their position. Doesn't matter what shirt they wear, doesn't matter what club they play for, doesn't even matter if their team is winning. The bottom line is, in their position, they have been the standout player in that position. That's how we do our team of the month, and we're quite comfortable with that, because what we want to do is celebrate consistency, whether they're winning or whether their team is losing, what they bring to the great game of rugby league. So without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, it's now time to announce the March Super League Raw Team of the Month. Team of the Month is sponsored by David Presley as Elvis. If you want your wedding all shook up, contact David Presley today. It is now time to announce the Super League Raw Team of the Month for March. And up off the bench is Ollie Ashall-Port of Toulouse Olympique. He had 2 tries, 4 try assists, 17 tackleables, 2 clean breaks, 52 carries for 337 metres. On the wing is Maker Sivo of Leeds Rhinos. 6 tries, 17 tackleables, 6 clean breaks, 47 carries, 286 metres. That's an average of 6 metres a carry. He was in one Team of the Week. In centre is Wakefield Trinity's Oliver Pratt. He had 4 tries, 9 tackleables, 3 clean breaks, 35 tackles, 45 carries, 338 metres. He's been in one Team of the Week. In centre is Lee Leopard's Tessie New. He had 2 tries, 2 try assists, 3 clean breaks, 26 tackleables, 52 carries for 459 metres. He was in 2 Team of the Weeks. On the wing is Joe Burgess of Hull KR. He had 5 tries, 1 try assist, 5 clean breaks, 7 tackleables, 44 carries for 391 metres. He was in 1 Team of the Week. At standoff is George Williams of the Warrington Wolves. He scored a try, made 7, had 1 clean break, 8 tackleables, 48 carries for 294 metres. At scrum half is Tyrone May of Hull KR. 1 try, 6 assists, 3 clean breaks, 12 tackleables, 8 attacking kicks and 10 kicks in general play. He was in 1 Team of the Week. At prop is Lee Leopard's Robbie Mulhern. 1 offload, 68 tackles at a 94% efficiency, 5 tackleables, 47 carries for 340 metres. At hooker is Danny Walker of the Warrington Wolves. 3 try assists, 93 tackles at a 92% efficiency, 2 tackleables, 17 runs from dummy half for 187 metres. He's been in 1 Team of the Week. At prop is Wakefield Trinity's Caleb Hanlon-Yully. 1 try, 94 tackles at a 96% efficiency, 7 tackleables, 40 carries and 336 metres. He's been in 1 Team of the Week. In second row is Warrington Wolves' Sam Stone. 3 tries, 1 assist, 9 tackleables, 99 tackles, 23 carries for 146 metres. He's been in 1 Team of the Week. Alongside him will be Isaiah Vagana. 102 tackles, 13 from marker, 94% efficiency, 8 tackleables, 33 carries for 249 metres. And finally at loose forward is John Asiata of Hull FC. 1 try assist, 6 offload, 83 tackles at a 94% efficiency, 62 carries for 380 metres. He's been in 1 Team of the Week. And on the bench this month is Ryan Sutton of Bradford Bulls, James Bell of Hull FC, Jack Sinfield of Wakefield Trinity and Ben Curry of the Warrington Wolves. This is your Team of the Month for March. So there you go, the Team of the Month in the record books for the month of March. And there you jolly well. Reggie, your first impressions. I know you don't do them, but on you go.
I tried to avoid them, if I'm honest with you. Impressed with the number of Wakey players in there. Just goes to show that, how well they've done in the month of March. Ashall-Port has been sensational for Toulouse. He's been really good, one of the standout. There's some pretty good fullbacks in Super League, and for him to keep out some of those players is tremendous on his part. Ollie Pratt has been real. Joe Burgess as well at KR. They've had a bit of sticky patch, but he keeps scoring the tries. And I think Tyrone May has had the last few games Tyrone May's played. He's been superb.
Yeah, I mean,
a really good team.
You mentioned Ashall-Port. I mean, I'll be honest with you. I'd say Ashall-Port at the moment is he the best fullback over the first 7 rounds of Super League? I'd tell you now, he's got to be close in terms of that level of consistency. He was actually on the bench in February in our Team of the Month, and now he's starting fullback. So that tells you a little bit about his consistency. Steph, you'll probably give a shout out for Gareth O'Brien, who's deputised at fullback for you. He's had a good time, but no issues with Ashall-Port at fullback.
No, I think obviously with Field being out with his appendicitis has helped him there in terms of the month. But he's been exceptional. Ashall-Port really, really good for Toulouse and rightly gets his place there. I'm gutting for FC fans. John Asiata was outstanding in March. This is another huge injury for him. Absolutely gutted for John as an ex-league player who I've got a lot of time for. I think he means so much to that FC team, and there's so much of a better team when he's playing. So I'm glad he's got the recognition for the month of March, but absolutely gutted for him. I think it's 3 months, isn't it? So not as bad as first they had. Hopefully, he'll be back towards the end of the season, which is good. But no, really good. And I think for me, Danny Walker, so important for Warrington. He's been outstanding and has continued to be outstanding in April as well. So he could very well be getting the 9 jersey again in the April's team of the month.
Yeah, he has been in great form. There's no doubt about it. I mean, the two pack members from Trinity there, Joel Hamlin Yully and Isaiah Vigana, big reasons why Trinity are doing so well.
Yeah, and it's also another reason probably why Powell's got the coach of the month as well. You know, you would expect to see a plethora of Wakefield players in there, as you would with Warrington. But yeah, we always know that, you know, forwards win the games and the backs by how many. So that they've played a massive part in Wakefield's form, certainly of the month of March. And long may it continue for them, because it's really good rugby that they're playing.
Absolutely. Reggie, at loose forward, I mean, again, Joe Miller's been exceptional. He was, of course, in the February team of the month, and Joe pushed John Asiata all the way. But it's mad, isn't it? John Asiata, back fit, playing for FC, and he's straight into a team of the month, and that's how vitally important he is for FC. He's a massive loss, isn't he, going into the rest of the next few months?
Yeah, as Steph was saying there, you know, he did really well for Lee. I think the majority, if not all, Lee fans were sorry to see him leave the club. And then, yeah, I mean, if he could just, he seems to be cursed by injuries, especially since he went to FC. Yeah, he's a massive loss for Hull.
Yeah. In the chat, let's have a quick chat with some of the people in the chat. First and foremost, P&J Joinery. Yeah, that's Ryan Sutton there now on the screen. I hope you're happy. Do apologise for that. Yeah, Stone's been excellent, says Steve Cartledge. Couldn't agree with him more on that. Yeah, Andy obviously saying that the Warrington player's the standout player on the screen. Okay. 2 months in a row for Sivo. It ain't. He wasn't in our team in the month of Feb. He wasn't in there. Just a bit of detail there, Craig lad. Gagai, Greg Roach talking about Gagai. Yeah, I mean, Gagai, the last two performances, of course, one of them's in April. So unfortunately they're split. But yeah, Gagai has been very, very good in centre, no doubt about it. I did say, of course, when we did the pretext for what we do, this is about players being best in their position. What's interesting about this is you've got Ollie Ashelbot to lose, who's mid-table. You've got the likes of Tessie New, Robbie Mulhern, you know, mid-table in terms of their performances this season. John Asiata as well. And that goes to show that we mean what we say. You know, it's about, doesn't matter if you're on a winning team or a losing team. What matters is how are you playing in your position? And that highlights that in our team of the week, whether you're doing well at the top or the bottom, you can still be the best player in your position and be in a losing side, Greg.
Yeah, exactly. And, you know, something occurred to me while the other guys were talking, kind of along those themes. You know, no Wigan players in there, no Saints players in there, just the one Leeds player. You know, and it's really healthy that the players are getting in there. You know, we kind of, we're critical of other media sometimes, maybe unfairly so, that they maybe pick a shirt rather than a player. But this goes to show that this is done purely on form throughout the month and how well that player is playing, no matter which team they play for.
Yeah, absolutely. Right, okay, so that's pretty much where we are. That's the team of the month. Of course, later in the show, we will announce our player of the month for the month of March, and it's from 1 to 13. Those on the bench weren't good enough to start, so they're eliminated. So no Sutton, no Bell, no Sinfield, who, let's be fair, has been very good. You know, he's very unlucky, Jack Sinfield, not to be playing since Lino's come back, and Ben Curry as well. So they're out. They can't be our player of the month because they're not in the starting 13, but everybody else is in play. So we'll be asking, so later on, just keep your fingers ready to tell us who you think later in the show, but have a little think of those 13 players who would get your player of the month for the month of March, because that is coming up a little bit later in the show. So there you go. And the bar is open. And as always, it doesn't take Nige Bennett long. He's straight in there buying us a beer. Good lad, Nige. Happy days. Really appreciate that. Top man. Fantastic stuff. Right then, let's now get into one of our conversational points in terms of what I wanted to talk about tonight. And of course, everybody's going there, so we have to address it. And that, of course, is what's going on at Hull FC. Let's talk Hull FC. And it's this. I mean, as I said in the preview to the show, Cartwright's going, McNamara appears to be coming, and Nathan Clear is the future. And that for me is the bonkers element of FC, Greg, is that you've got a coach leaving. You've got a coach that supposedly is coming in, and again, it's been broken. Is it happening? It isn't happening. Warrington's denying all knowledge of any approach. You know, it's been leaked. Who's leaked it? Question mark and all the rest of it. It would appear it's McNamara, but again, that's not been done. I would say that's not been done as we would expect it to be done. And then in the same week, we're going to buy Nathan Cleary for £1 million, courtesy of Gary Schofield down in the NRL. That was broken. I think it was either on 360 or on Fox News or something down there, maybe in 9 News or something. I mean, what's going on at FC? It's absolute bonkers, isn't it?
It would appear so. I mean, first of all, if they get Cleary in there, I mean, what a boost for Super League that would be. That would be fantastic.
Hang on. Oh, hang on. Just a pig going over. I do apologise. Carry on.
There was a little but massive word I said at the start of that sentence, and it was if. Okay, if that was to happen, another one went past. It would be massive for Super League. It will be a huge shot in the arm for the sport in this country. If
for me, if on that though, if Cleary was to come, we know where his missus is. His missus is in Manchester. So I think that gives the likes of Wigan, Saints, Warrington, Lee, probably first dab at him. I would expect he'd want to be in a commutable distance to live in Manchester probably. A lot of the Lee lads live in Manchester, I know that. He'd probably want to be in Manchester with his missus. So that's another caveat in that. I mean, it's just the thing is a bonkers story. You know, when you've got so much disharmony going on, mate.
I think it was deflection, mate, a bit away from what the next point I was making. If, be brilliant, but another little word that's massive in this sentence, it's deflection. They're deflecting away from how they behaved at Cartwright because, as he said, I think this week in the media, he himself feels disrespected, and that's what they've done. They've disrespected him. He's done a decent job. He almost got them in the top 6 last season, a season after they almost went down. And also, if they've approached McNamara surreptitiously, there's a big word. Again, that's naughty as well. If they've tapped McNamara to go there without approaching Warrington first, again, that's a little bit naughty. So yeah, it's a crazy situation. And Cartwright, fair play to him for kind of a lot of people would have said, right, you know where you can stick your job, and they'd be off. And I'm really surprised that he hasn't.
Well, that's the thing, isn't it, Steph? I mean, look, we were talking before when on air, me and Joel. It's very normally Hull FC release the full pre-match press conference of John Cartwright. It should be out now. It was done yesterday. Normally that's out. If you actually go and check their YouTube channel, it's normally out pretty quickly. It ain't out. Now that for me is quite telling, because even though it's been written down, the written word for me doesn't travel as far as a video could travel in terms of YouTube, Facebook, all the rest of it. Do you think that suggests that Hull FC are a bit filthy over what John said?
It was out and it got pulled down.
Thank you for that. So that would suggest that they're filthy about it?
Yeah, it was. It was as we talked briefly on it last week, didn't we? In terms of this situation, and this is where I was saying previously about I can't see how it's tenable for him to stay in post, because he's obviously, by his own words now, disgruntled about what's happened. You can't live in that kind of environment. It just doesn't work, because as soon as something else goes, like a bad result or whatever, it's going to be, just a big fallout, isn't it? It's just a mess, and this is why you can't have a separation, but then live in the same bedroom for the next 12 months. It just doesn't work. So I can't see how he continues, even into the next few weeks. They've got to, if you've got to get rid of somebody, you've got to get rid of them. It's as simple as that. Plus, there's also other positions available, in Australia and in UK where Cartwright could explore. So it's just a mess, isn't it? And it's not a slight on Hull FC, but they've got form for it, haven't they, in terms of doing stuff like this? And it's just not professional.
Well, that's interesting. I mean, Carol there saying, look, Carol's a Robin. A good evening to Carol Moore. And she said Cartwright's been treated awfully, and that's from a Robins fan. Craig Forth has gone in there as well and said, any person wanting to coach FC should be given a bonus for how they treat them after one bad result. And, Joel, Steph said it there. under different ownership, but they have got form. I mean, I always remember the Lee Radford sacking, which I thought was deplorable, absolutely deplorable. And, you know, what we've seen here, again, I mean, and again, allegedly, we've got to say that allegedly. We don't know the facts, but allegedly out there, it would appear that he wasn't even told face-to-face.
Well, it wouldn't surprise me. It's not the first thing something like this has happened. And clubs don't seem to, you know, that word respect, as Cartwright has mentioned, you know, does seem to go out the window these days. You know, I think look how Robinson got dealt with. You know, nowhere near as bad as this, as what it seems. But yeah, there just doesn't seem to be the respect for people anymore. You know, and it's a shame that, because this is one of the most respectful sports on the planet. And when we're seeing and dealing with them kind of behaviours, you know, and that's the thing, behaviours are patterns, and this is, you know, happened at Hull FC more than one occasion, and then coming out with the likes of the picture in the middle of Cleary, you know, and a bit of an inside joke for Dave, you know, I've grown some wings, so the thing is, when you make absurd claims like that, you know, you look at the likes of Cleary, that could bankrupt a club with the money that he might want and the salary cap that they're paying out. You know, and I'm not saying that they can't afford things like that, but you've just got to be so careful. Look at Sonny Bill Williams. I know he was a lot older, but when Toronto signed him, it was a great marketing ploy, but man, it was the biggest flop I'd ever seen in my life. And we all love Sonny Bill Williams in his prime. You know, but to try and put the name out like Cleary there among such silliness that's going on amongst the coaches, you can see that the Hull FC club have made a statement like that to try and get the fans on side. But that can have the opposite effect. They can think, how delusional are our upper classes here? And I just think that they've just lost the plot. Something drastic has happened, and they just need to get a grip, because that, you know, is just not right. And the fact that, like you say, you know, the video wasn't published, that speaks 1,000 words. That, you know, that tells us enough.
Well, yeah, I mean, it would. I mean, obviously, as you know, I'm a little bit distracted at the moment. So thanks for Steph for clearing that one up for me. I haven't seen that. I'm not as on it as I normally am, and of course, people in the membership know why, and you know, the boys know why that is at the moment. This is coming a little bit second fiddle at the moment. But I think what I would say, you know, for me is that, you know, we've said all last year we were very impressed with John Cartwright. You know, and you know, and he comes across as a straight talking, very, you know, very, very good guy. And of course, we heard the rumours. I mean, the rumours of the players refused to train, and then Cartwright came out and said, well, no, he just didn't think they'd get anything out of the session. So for a coach to say that he's cancelled the session, not because they wanted to cancel the session, but he believed it was pointless based on what he was seeing in his group about how they took the news, it would have been a wasted session. And that Greg, speaks volumes for the players and what they think about the way this has been handled.
Yeah, you've got to feel for the players, haven't you, in this one, because they mustn't know where they stand in this situation. And if you can do that to a coach, you know, they must be thinking, are we next on the chopping block? Are we going to find ourselves out of contract, out of work? So, yeah, you have to feel for the players. And it's a mess that needs, you're not going to tidy it up, are you? But as tidy up as best Hull can. For the sake of the players and the sake of the fans, as soon as he possibly can, you know, make a decision. Don't keep the fans hanging on. Don't keep the players hanging on. There's clearly now a rift, quite rightly so, between coach and the powers that be there. So there's got to be a resolution somewhere, and it has to come soon. Otherwise, it could start creeping into results.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of people, you know, see. I'd be amazed if he was there at the weekend. I really would. But look, yeah, we like to be balanced. We like to be balanced. So why have Hull FC made the decision? Now, look, they haven't done anything wrong, because you know, it's been well reported out there that Cartwright, there was an option for the club in the club's favour to extend him into 2027, and they've triggered with a 6 months notice, which was in the contract, that they're not willing to do that. The manner in which they've done it, again, allegedly, wouldn't appear to be great. But let's take a look at John Cartwright's time in the last 2 seasons. And I've compared and contrast 25 here to 26. So last year, of course, exited the Challenge Cup in the quarterfinals, a 32-6 loss at home to KR. This year, they go out in the Challenge Cup, 4th round against the Lee Leopards, and that was at home, so that should be the other way around, 16-6. If you look at their league position after 7 rounds in 25, they were second on 11 points. This year, after round 7, they're 9th with 6, so 5 points difference there. Last year, round 1, they beat the Dragons. Round 2, they lost at home to Wigan 46-4. In round 3, they won in that golden point drama at the Giants. Then, of course, they did a 22-all draw with the Lee Leopards, which was an incredible game. Then, of course, they beat Wigan in that Challenge Cup 4th round, an incredible comeback at the Brit Community. They went on to then beat Trinity at home in round 5. They then won at Trinity away, Tigers away, before being knocked out by the Robins in the Cup. And then they beat Warrington 28-16 at the HJ. They scored 171 points and conceded 162. If you compare that to this season, they just about got past the Bulls, 27-20 as a newly promoted side. They lost to Wigan 34 points to 6, which is not too dissimilar to the amount that they lost by. We've actually seen improvement in terms of how much they lost by Wigan the year before. Then, of course, they lost to the Knights. But, of course, let's not forget, KR lost to the Knights by a point. They lost to Trin away. They lost to Leopards, of course, in the Cup before beating the Rhinos 24-16. Then they beat Catalan 24-20 before losing last time out to the Robins 24 points to 6. Based on those statistics, Steph, have Hull FC, have they got it right? Are they seeing, were they expecting an improvement at the same point this year? They've not seen that. And because of that, they've triggered this 6 months. No, we're not going to extend.
I think it's far too early in any season to dismiss a coach, especially with what Cartwright's done at that club since he's been there. It's the word that nobody wants to mention at the moment is injuries, isn't it? Because it seems like all we talk about in Super League at the moment is injuries. But I think right up there with Huddersfield is Hull FC in terms of the amount of players that FC have had injured. They've had a really bad injury list with some key players. I just can't get my head around why you'd bring someone in like him and then tell him he's not required for the rest of his contract after 2026. It's just bizarre. If you're going to do it, just get rid of him straight away. But yeah, it's such a straight. I mean, my personal, unless they've got some fantastic coach lined up who's going to come and they know he's going to come, which is the Steve McNamara rumor, isn't it? But why not just wait to the end of the season to announce it? Let him do the full 2026, because all it does is disrupt all the players, disrupt the fans, and it's not been. I mean, yeah, they're only on 6 points at the moment, but that's not bad. We've seen teams on far worse than 6 points after round 7 make the playoffs. So it just seems just a really weird board level decision. But what I'm not surprised from Hull FC.
Yeah, I mean, Joel, you take Cartwright. I would expect at Huddersfield. And you know what? That's not a bad shout. The only problem is, I think he's off to Manly as an assistant. That's my view. That's been rumoured for weeks, and now this has gone on. And Cartwright's playing a clever game here, and the fact that he's come out and from his standpoint, again, there's two sides, but from his standpoint, he spoke to the press and he said it as it is, the way that he sees it, which is all a man can do. He's hurt. It's the way he feels. He's entitled to say what he said. Equally, he's not going to resign. He's going to have to be. No, I'm sorry, John, you're going to go early. And of course, if they then sack him, which is what they've not done, they've said he's no longer required in 2027. So, which is as per his contract. So, they'll have to sack him. Now, that could happen. If that did happen, I see Greg Roach in the chat saying, as a Giants fan, somebody like Cartwright with a Kyle Eastman as an assistant would be very favourable at Huddersfield. You'd take him, wouldn't you?
Yeah, it would, yeah. So, yeah, let's get out of the way. Manly would be the preferred destination for him, of course. But for him to make a statement, allegedly, that he did, I think requires two things on John's part. So I think, number one, he's either got a destination almost lined up or clear in mind, or, let's flip it on its head, maybe somewhere like since the announcement and him saying what he's allegedly said, a team like Huddersfield have gone to him already and had a bit of a quiet word and said, look, we've got a potential for you here, because I could imagine that Huddersfield would have a word and say, would like you, because if Steve Mack has turned down the job, if there was a quiet word had, then it'd be great for us. I don't know if I'd have Kyle Eastman. I'd probably keep with maybe Liam Finn in second, as it stands, because he's clearly doing a job. But yeah, I'd take any English coach as a second to him, and he's got obviously clear links to the NRL, and he'd have some swaying power for people coming up. And think of it this way as well. What better way would it be to go to a club like Huddersfield, who have been worse this season? Absolutely smash it for us, and then give it the biggest up yours to Hull FC.
Yeah, I mean, look, it's absolutely fascinating. I mean, I look at FC at times and I just scratch my head. It actually looked as if they were getting somewhere under Cartwright. He seemed to settle down. Really good season last year. The other thing here is maybe injuries have bitten him, but also the players that he's brought in. I mean, you look at who he has brought in. Asiata being the case in point is the man on the big money, and he's just not, when he plays, he's exceptional.
Did he bring him in though? Was that not Myler he brought him in?
That's it. Well, that's my point, is the fact that, if that's the case, I mean, the likes of Bell, we know Bell's had injuries. I mean, look at Batchelor already. Will Price is another one. Let's be fair. All of these players are coming in. I mean, this week they're bringing Newman in. We'll talk about that later. It's just odd. It's just really, really odd. And like I say, the coaches, for me, if they are not in charge of recruitment, then you can't really hold them accountable if those recruitees go down injured and he can't get, I don't get how a coach doesn't have a say in terms of, who comes into a club. I just don't get that. I really don't. Because at the end of the day, they're the ones on the training field every week. They're the ones who've got to do it. And of course, in the good clubs, it's a seamless communication line. So I'll go to Wigan. I mean, Matty P isn't being told who's coming into that club. That is going to be a discussion. You'd expect that. I think at Saints, when it was Rush and Wellens, I think everybody felt that the decisions weren't Paul Wellens. Now Rowley's there. That won't happen. Paul Rowley will be front and centre in terms of what he wants in that changing room. But in other clubs, it does appear that the board have more say than the coach. And I think that's very, very concerning when that happens, especially, if that is the case at FC. I feel for the man. Like I say, he comes across as a really good guy. I really feel for him. But yeah, it'll rumble on. And of course, if and when it's announced that Steve McNamara is off to Hull FC, maybe we'll debate what that means for Warrington. But I think we'll leave that for another night. Right. Okay. Great chat. Great debate. I just wanted to speak to, whilst we were talking earlier, there was something in the chat. I'm just going to go and find it because I think it's important that I do so. There was a question labelled for myself. I just need to go and find it again. One moment. And basically, it was all on the lines. It was Stuart, I think. I think it was Stuart who put it in there, saying, why don't we have a Cumbrian on this panel? This panel is what this panel is. Super League Raw Weekly is Super League Raw Weekly. That will never change. However, if you're a Cumbrian and you want to be a part of Super League Raw, become a member, you're more than welcome on the Final Hooter podcast. And then you're more than welcome to put your hand up if you want to come on the Captain's Run. But as far as weekly is concerned, this is it. This is what you get. It's simple as that. And, I don't apologise for that. That's just the way we roll. But yeah, we would love some Cumbrian supporters to be a part of Super League Raw. Absolutely. Of course, we have the Championship programme with Craig Lingard now every Wednesday at 7 p.m. So we do also look at Championship clubs. So by all means, get involved. Right. Okay. Also in the titles, I put this one up, which was an interesting little graphic, and I'm sure you all picked it up. Can't see a thing, ref, is what I said. Can't see a thing. Let's now get to Little O, and then we'll have a chat about this.
What Would Oliver Say is proudly sponsored by South Coast Lane Carpets. From shag pile to vinyl, nylon to wool, you are guaranteed to find the right fit for your home. Contact them today and tell them Oliver sent you. This is What Would Oliver Say at Super League Raw. I want to talk about the 5 minutes of craziness in the Wakefield and Wigan game at the weekend. I just can't understand how Harry Smith escaped a card on the pitch. There were plenty of replays going on, and if the RFL thought it was serious enough to get a 3-match ban for unnecessary contact, then why wasn't it dealt with on the pitch? I also think the RFL have been lenient with Harry Smith and Tavaga. For Tavaga, he had a terrible game. You can't go kicking out, and I think he's been very lucky to only get 2 games. I was also surprised to see Harry Smith get 3 games, and we usually see more for this type of offence. I thought the RFL were trying to clamp down on it. I just remember SKD getting 4 games when they did the same thing. It just seems they had an eye on the big Saints for the Wigan Challenger Cup game. I keep seeing it, but all we're asking for by the RFL is consistency. What do you think, Super League Raw?
So there you go. What do we think? Super League Raw. Can't see a thing, ref. Do you know what? When you've got a young lad like that talking that amount of sense, it's tremendous, isn't it? And let's unpack this. Wakey against, first of all, head and shoulders the best quarterfinal by a street. I mean, the Warren Lee game was a great game for the wrong reasons. This was a great game for the right reasons. Really good tries, really good toe-to-toe, a lot of quality, a lot of class in there. Truman again doing what Truman does. Reggie, I'll start with you. Let's go through this piece by piece. Let's start with Tavanga.
Yeah.
Why wasn't that a red?
Simple answer is I don't know. He's kicked out. There are, you can see it from his side in that it appeared that he was being bent backwards and his leg was being twisted, but he's kicked out. For me, I'm gonna mention the round ball game. Don't give me a red card; it is relevant. Last night there was a United player sent off for violent conduct when he pulled a Leeds United player's hairband out, his bobble out, and it was seen as violent conduct. For me, that is kicking out is violent conduct. So I don't know. Maybe the referee has seen some mitigating circumstances and give it as a yellow. It was a yellow, wasn't it, on the day? He did go for a yellow, yeah. But yeah, I mean, Ollie's crystallised the thoughts of the rugby league public there in saying that all we want is consistency, game to game, to be refereed to the same standards and the same decisions being made by different referees, but interpreting the laws and the regulations in exactly the same way each week in, week out. That's all we want. That's all we ask for. There's a rule book there. And somebody once said to me, and again, I'm risking a yellow card here, in that rugby union referees carry out the law, rugby league referees interpret the rules. And that's kind of, in a nutshell for me, what it is, that referees all seem to interpret these rules in different ways. And I'm not referee bashing. I don't want to be seen as referee bashing, but it's a consistency that is frustrating for many, if not all, rugby league fans. I don't know why it wasn't a red card. It should be seen as violent conduct. Maybe the mitigating circumstances are that his leg is being bent into an unnatural position and he was trying to free himself. That's the only thing I can kind of say.
Well, I think there's some great comments in the chat. I don't think he was trying to free himself. It's a natural human instinct. He has clearly interpreted that Harry Smith's tried to do him, and his instant reaction. Somebody said it in the chat, fight or flight. He's lashed out. I can appreciate that, but it's a red card. You can't do it. It's as simple as that. Whether it's an instant reaction or not, it doesn't matter. That's a red card. Steph, we then go to Harry Smith. I mean, we go to Harry Smith, of course. Couple of people in the chat saying he was unlucky. How was he supposed to know? The bottom line is, again, it's a rule. It's a rule that you cannot lay a hand on a player that is appearing to be injured. Now, again, split-second decisions and all the rest of it. From a Harry Smith perspective, Steph, why wasn't that dealt with on the field?
I don't think touching an injured player has ever been dealt with on the field, or very, very rarely. It's normally a match review panel thing where it's picked up on, and normally it's a lengthy ban when you do it. There's been plenty of examples of that, and he Oliver referenced Sean Cannidell. I think Liam Horn got done for it. I remember Jamie Acton getting done for it at Lee. But what we've got to remember as well is the disciplinary process has changed now, and it's on a points-based system. So that's why if players have got 0 points, then they're probably getting a bit of a lesser ban than they would have in previous seasons for it. So I'm not surprised Harry Smith wasn't dealt with on the field. I'm very surprised that Tavega wasn't a red card. That's always been a red card, kicking out an opposition player, regardless of the situation. But I'm more shocked. The one that I was really more
No, no,
shocked
no, no,
on.
no, 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 no. Hold. We're going to Joel for that one. We're going to Joel for that one. It's all right, mate. You weren't to know, sir. You weren't to know. Yours was Harry Smith's. Joel, I think he's going to go to Sam Walters. I think that's where Steph was off to. Sam Walters puts the nut in. I think it was Jay Pitts, I think, if memory serves me right. Why wasn't he sent off?
I think that, like a lot of people say, I think there's no smoke without fire. Certain clubs. I'm hearing myself.
I don't know why. Yeah, I'm gonna have a guess why. Let's see if this fixes it. Go on, mate.
Is that better? There we go.
There you go.
Brilliant.
Yeah, go on, carry on.
I think, unfortunately, and it has been seen, that some clubs' players get away with it far more than others do. If that was any of our clubs that we represent on this panel, ours would be sent off straight away. And I'm sorry to say that, Wigan fans, but that unfortunately is the case for you and other clubs that seem to get more preferential treatment than others. Now, I might be wrong with that, but that's how it seems. And usually, if a lot of people say it, there must be some truth behind it somewhere. Because as Reggie says, the refs do interpret the rules. And unfortunately, some do like others more than others. But that aside, end of the day, these players are paid to be professionals, elite athletes, and they should know to play by the rules. And if you can't play by the rules, you should suffer the consequences, and the consequences should be heavy. It's not even a contact sport, it's a collision sport. So there's enough collision within our game, we don't need extra ones. And the refs should really clamp down on this, because if not, you're going to then start breeding this thing about the players where they can become more vicious or be more violent towards players outside of the game that's already quite violent enough as it is. And you look at players like Tavanga, who loves to be in the middle of every scrap there possibly is. He'd get into a scrap on a different game that he's not even playing if he had the chance. So I think that this needs to be stomped out, because players like that will keep doing it and getting away with it, unfortunately.
Billy Stade, or Stade, or how you saying your surname. Take a bow, sir. If it was Liggy Sow, he'd have been sent to Alcatraz for life. That is a great line. That is an absolute peach. Well done, mate. Loving a little bit of that. That's fantastic. And we've also got a Halifax fan watching us. Hey, become a member. We haven't got an Halifax Panthers fan. Become a member. It'd be great to have an Halifax Panthers fan. That'd be wonderful. Bobby Marr. Hey, Bobby, lad. I hope you're enjoying the show. Nice to have your company this evening. Right. Okay. Because he interrupted Steph, I feel a bit awful, but I wanted to spread the love, Steph. I wanted to spread the love. So I'm going to come back to you, all right? Because I know this is really going to get you going, because I know you that well. So here's the thing. Here's the thing. I disagree with you, Joel, in terms of he got away with it. Right? He got away with it. And I'm going to explain to you why. Okay? If that hasn't been seen by the on-field official, he hasn't got away with it. He hasn't seen it. Now, don't get me wrong, Jay Pitts motions to the referee.
Linesman.
Now, I get that, but they haven't seen it. Now, here's the thing that I'm going to bring Steph in on, right? Because this is the thing where this particular game is concerned, all right? Wakey were looking good. Great game. Beautiful. I mean, the first try from Truman. Beauty. Have a bit of that. Oh, yeah, get that into your ribs. Beautiful stuff. There was good tries on both sides. Mago was incredible when he came on. But let's stay on this, because for me, what we've just discussed, this pretty much is critical to this game. Tavanga has been sent for 10 for kicking out. Now, Josh Fewley's got 10 for knocking the ball out of play. I'll let you make your own mind up which one was worse. But again, rules of the game. Now, we have, as per the graphic, can't see a thing, ref. The video referee saw those incidents. Saw them. The Walters one is as clear as day. It's not even up for debate. Why? And this is the point. Tavanga goes off and it turned the game. Wigan scored 2 tries in that period. Walters gets sent off. Interesting times. Interesting times. And that for me is what I can't forgive, because now Walters is out for 3 games, which he deserves, and that's going to benefit other teams and wake you out the cup. It was seen by the video ref. Over to you, Steph.
It wasn't just seen by the video ref; it was seen by everybody watching it. The first thing I said is he's led with his head there. That needs to be looked at. And if I'm right, I think the Pitts. I think Craig in the chat said that no Wakefield players appealed it. I'm sure Pitts was going, "What the hell was that?" You know. So to say no Wakefield players appealed it is fundamentally wrong for a kickoff. But I'm sure there was a stoppage at that point as well. So, because obviously we were getting the replays of it at that time, so there must have been some. It's a bit vague. I'd had a couple of beers, but I remember vividly going to that and going, "Why is that not being picked up?" And the video ref should be saying to the on field, "You can't blame Moore for not seeing it. You know, they're going to miss things in games. They can't see everything.
Yeah.
But if every viewer, across the country is seeing it, the video ref's got to be able to go, hang on, we need to look at this because this is serious foul play." And as you rightly say, it has a massive impact on the outcome of the game. And I think Wakefield should think themselves lucky that Tavega didn't get a red. But on the flip side of that, they should feel very disgruntled that incident wasn't looked at, because that, to me, was a red card.
Well, we're all saying that Tavanga's, by the very definition of the rules, he should have been sent off. So this isn't anti-Wigan. This isn't anti-Wigan. Tavanga's very lucky on the field of play to just get 10. We all agree with that. But for me, the amount of rule changes that we have and the amount of government. I mean, the other thing that's creeping in is that referees have stopped making decisions again. I don't know if you've noticed that these last few weeks. But that started to creep back in again. The whole point was we were supposed to give him more tries on the field, and all of a sudden, I'll go and have a look. That's starting to increase for me. I've not got a stat on that, but it appears to me that they're increasing on a game-by-game basis, which again is slowing the game down a little bit. But, in terms of, for me, as a video ref, when it's absolutely as clear as day like that, I don't even care if we go 3 play the balls in the future. Mm-hmm. At the next break of play, that video referee should be saying to the on-field official, you need to send off Sam Walters. He's head-butted.
Serious foul play. Serious foul play, yeah, definitely.
He needs to go. I've seen the video replay. He's put the nut on Pitsy. He needs to go. That's what should happen. That's what should happen. Didn't happen, but that's what should happen. And of course people say, it was a clash. People. And look, the bottom line is, he's been, as far as the disciplinary committee are concerned, Sam Walters head-butted Jay Pitts. That's why. Or they might say that it was head-eye shot, but I think, are we all comfortable that the ruling has been that he's put the head on him? Go on, Reggie.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Reggie, you're on mute, mate. Yeah. I can't. Yeah, we don't do sign language, mate. You're on, yeah.
Put me on mute.
There you go. Crack on, mate.
Thank you. You muted me. And a lot of people would love to do that permanently.
Indeed. Come on, carry on, mate. Carry on.
2 points to that on. As Andy Bibby said in the chat, slightly different rules in the Challenge Cup, because it can send it up as a try or a no try in the Challenge Cup, apparently. So maybe that's why that's crept back in over this last weekend of games.
No,
and the other thing is,
it's also been coming back in the Super League.
Well, for no tries, they should only go to the screen if they think it's a no try. And the other thing for me is this will continue as long as we have this safety net of the disciplinary panel. We've disagreed with the disciplinary panel for as long as we've been on this show, me and you, Dave, and then, everybody, you two guys who've joined us over the past 6 years, Steph and Joel. And we kind of applauded them for changing the way that things were dealt with and a point system, etc. But it's still a safety net for referees for missing things and for video refs for missing things. And the whole thing needs to be cleaned up. There needs to be a whole kind of root and branch investigation into how we can improve refereeing at games. The Thewlis yellow card on Saturday, whether we agree with it or not, batting a ball out of play to delay a restart, is that worse than kicking somebody or headbutting somebody? Is that worse than conceding 3 head-eye penalties on the bounce and then taking somebody out in the air deliberately? Just conceding penalties. And then, there's got to be a root and branch, and it's got to take a long time, and it won't happen overnight. But we have to improve this because it's still It's one of the major things that frustrates every fan. And you can't criticise the referees. The rules are changing every season. Sometimes rules that are changed at the beginning of the season are changed back mid-season. We've got cameras, we've got technology. Somebody's asked in the chat, what do referees' assistants do? Well, apparently they're mic'd up now, so they don't have to put the flag up. They just have a word in the referee's ear. But you very, very rarely see them involved in the game. They're not doing themselves any favours. Maybe get rid of the mics and start putting your flags up. Referees' assistants, not linesmen. That was very sexist of me, and I apologise. But, there needs to be more transparency around the disciplinary decisions as well that will ease these frustrations that fans have around this whole refereeing situation. We have this debate regularly, and it's not just us that has this debate regularly. It's debates on the terraces, it's debates in other podcasts, it's debates through the media. And for some reason, the RFL and the head of referees are turning a blind eye to it, and it's turning people away from the game. And it's one of the biggest problems we have in the game, as far as I'm concerned. I might be talking out of place here, I don't know. But it's one of the biggest issues we have is the frustration that we walk away countless times from games talking about the referees and not the game itself. Or a brilliant performance by a player. And it's frustrating.
It is, mate, but they're not walking away from the game's attendances are up.
No, I don't mean walking away as in walking away. They're walking away from the game, talking about the referees and decisions being made, rather than wasn't Tessie Newey brilliant this week? Wasn't Minchella fantastic this week? That try by George Williams, try of the season. What was all that about? Why was Thewlis simbing? Why wasn't that a red card for Tavanga? Why didn't that guy get sent off who's just threw the head on another player?
That's sport though, mate. I mean, look, at the end of the day, we don't have a show if we haven't got things to talk about. I'm comfortable with people making mistakes. More than happy with people making mistakes. But when you've got video technology that can watch something back like Walters, I'm sorry to say, that for me, because like I say, the other teams are now going to benefit from Walters and Harry Smith being out. Tavanga got yellow. Very lucky. Should have been sent off. But that decision changed momentum. Walters goes, it swings back the other way. I mean, people in the chat going on about Marshall. Did he intend to trap his leg? And only Marshall knows. And that's very, very difficult to say. He's trying to, he's wrestling. He's trying to get up. I don't think you can go there, folks. I really don't. Only Marshall knows what he's really doing there. I mean, that's not for us to talk about. What's absolute is, and I've said it was a natural reaction from Tavanga. A natural reaction, but he can't do it. Can't do it. Simple as that. It's in the rules. You can't do it. I'm sorry. I understand why he's done it, but he can't do it. He's adjudged that Harry Smith's tried to do it, that Marshall's tried to do it. Only Liam knows. Only Liam knows, and that's not for us to discuss. But in Tavanga's world, he's tried to do it and he's lashed out. Can't do it to me. Can't do it. So he deserved minimum yellow. Very lucky he didn't get red. We could go on this all night, but I think the other thing that we saw as well, and it's little things like this that I think, going back to Greg's points there, I'd agree with. You see, Josh Thewlis given 10 in the league game. Now, in probably the last 15 minutes of that game, I don't know about you, but Lee were giving away a lot of penalties, and I'm sure you were a bit filthy over that in terms of the penalty count and how many we're giving away. When Jack Hughes does that, he's got to go for 10. He has to. The amount of penalties that have been given in that 10-minute spell, it's an absolute blatant professional foul. He's already given Thewlis 10 for his misdemeanor. Jack Hughes has got to go. So even though it didn't matter, it's important in the fact that, as Greg says, you go away going, well, how did Jack Hughes get away with that?
Yeah. No, absolutely. I wouldn't disagree with that either. I think that there's an important point, though, on this, what we just discussed in terms of yellow cards and people saying, oh, well, someone knocking the ball away should be a yellow card over someone who's kicked out at somebody. There's two very distinctive types of reasons that you can be yellow carded. One is for foul play. The other is for professional fouls and delaying the game, such as persistent holding down, or someone makes a clean break and you hold him down to let your players come back. It's a yellow card all day, isn't it? That's not punching someone in the face or whatever. So there's different reasons that you can be yellow carded for. The Thewlis one, absolutely, it's a yellow card. It's always been a yellow card since day dot. You cannot stop play like that from a restart. That you just, regardless of how minor it is. And I think the referee was even embarrassed to do it. I think he even said to him, it's the rules, mate. I'm sorry, but you can't do that. So it was a yellow card. I'm completely comfortable with that. I think Hughes should have been yellow carded, absolutely, for persistent penalties. But it's two different. We're talking there in that Warrington. There's no ill discipline or foul play for getting a yellow card. In the Wakefield Wigan game, it was the opposite. It was, kicking out a player. It's a red card all day. I don't care what any Wakefield fan says. We'll give Wakefield all the plaudits. You're doing really, really well. But regardless of what's happening and what Marshall's doing, if you kick out at somebody, it's a red card. It's always been a red card. Yeah, it's as simple as that.
Let's have consistency. Right, let's just have a quick whistle-stop tour, those quarterfinals. Before we do, to the Super League Raw Ladies Tackle Talkers, that is out now. I had a bit of a virus on my PC, I had to clean up this morning, so apologies that didn't go out on time this morning. That was technical difficulties. It's out now, another great episode of Super League Raw Ladies Tackle Talk, and the Tackle Talkers are off to watch York League together. That's the spirit of our community. We've got the Tackle Talk team, and they're all going to go and have a social. They're having a meal in the afternoon together, and then they're going to go and watch a game together. Leigh fans, KR fans, FC fans, wonderful, wonderful. Ladies, on behalf of us all, go and have a great night. We look forward to seeing the photographs from that. It's wonderful to see you all getting as friendly as you are through this wonderful, wonderful community of ours. And like I say, I'm sure York will be delighted for the extra couple of bums on seats as well. Nice to see that you're doing that. So have a great, great time. We really do wish you well on that. Right, Greg, let's start with the opening fixture, Saints against Catalan. Saints, absolutely fantastic, brilliant, superb, took the opportunities well. Good to see Alex Wormsley back, carried the ball really well. Again, did Alex on the night. Catalan, though, looked like a rudderless team, looked like a team without a coach. Again, just another poor away performance from Catalan.
Yeah, you got to feel sorry for them a little bit, haven't you? They just didn't turn up. They didn't perform on the night. I'd praised them last week, saying that Dodd and Sexton looked like they were getting it together and that they were performing as a good half-back pairing, and the pack was doing really well, and Saints just ripped them to pieces. You got to applaud. You've got to applaud Saints. Lots of injuries. We've been talking about Hull with injuries earlier this evening. Saints equally affected by injuries. Was there a couple of bad injuries on the night? Was it Wingfield as well?
Yeah, so Wingfield's out.
Like his ACL,
which is a real shame, and Murphy as well, isn't he? He's going to be out for a period.
Yeah, I did hear he'd broken his arm, but now I believe it's a dislocated elbow.
Look, I feel for Murphy in the fact that he's been playing well, but they can cope because they've got Dagnall and Felt. So that's not going to cause them too many headaches, really. It's a shame for Murphy because he's in great form, don't get me wrong. I think he's been playing superbly well. But Wingfield's a bloke, without doubt.
Yeah, isn't Dagnall injured as well? Dagnall was injured as well.
No, I'm not so sure about that.
But yeah, it was a clinical performance by Saints. Fully deserved the win. Catalan will be disappointed. I'm sure this weekend they will look to bounce back against a certain team. But yeah, Saints were superb and deserved the place in the semi-final.
Yeah, absolutely. Couldn't agree with you more. Joel, I'll bring you in. Equally, you talk about injuries. Unfortunately for York, they've had quite a few to key personnel as well. They battled. Especially in that first half, they tried the best. They made a decent fist of it. But coming up against an OKR side that is now starting to hit form with that level of injuries, unfortunately for York, it's probably a year, maybe 2 years too early to go to Craven Park and turn over KR in the cup.
Yeah, very possibly. I think with York, they just had the wrong trajectory, the opposite to what KR's had. KR started bad and they're rising. York started well and they're falling. And it's not out of lack of trying or the effort. The effort is always there with York. We know that regardless of the score, they will always try the best and do well. And, they're still not playing bad. They're not playing bad with what they've got. They're doing really well. And it's great to see them performing regardless of who they're playing. I think you're right. The unfortunate thing for York is with the injuries that have coming on and some of the aged players that they have come towards the end of the season. I think unfortunately we're going to see some games where they're just going to be outplayed, possibly. We don't know if the injuries come back and they've got some fresh legs towards the end of the season. Great, and they may battle. But yeah, they're going to need a grace of at least 2 years, as you say, to solidify themselves within the Super League, and they will do that. They will do that. They've got the personnel there at the club to pull the right strings and get the right players in place. I think what they're doing this year is perfect. They're battling along. They're using the players that they've got. The young players are learning so much. You can see that week on week. They're gaining confidence in the Super League, though they've not had a win for a few weeks. But they're doing things the right way, and that's really good to see that. And you wouldn't expect them necessarily to be in a semi-final first year. If they had, I think it would have been a real credit on their side. But Hull KR are doing what Hull KR do best, and they are emerging again as a very good squad.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, couldn't agree with you more. And I think you're not finishing bottom is a great season. That's where they're at for me. They'd like to do better, of course they would, but to not finish bottom, I think is where it is. Good news for York. By all accounts, Sam Wood might be back in centre for the game against Lee. We know that Lee have got potentially some problems again. Tessie New was holding his shoulder. Be interested to see if Tessie's there. We know Hanley's out again, so again more issues in the centre spot. So for Sam Wood to come back, that's a bit of a bonus if he is, because obviously that could give him a bit of a lift. We'll talk about that, of course, in Captain's Run. Captain's Run back, of course, for round 8 this coming Thursday night. Make sure that you catch us for that. I don't know if Mr. Sale will be with me or not. He's off on holiday, so it might be one of the other boys. I don't know. He'll give me the. Are you there, Steph? Are you playing?
I'll be live from Milnthorpe.
All right, so he's live from the lakes, but the boys are more than welcome. If you're off school, Reg, you can come. It's
I'm driving down to Stansted. I'm going to Catalan.
Of course, you're going to Catalan, but yeah, and then of course, again, if you remember out there, remember the option is always there for Captain's Run if you're available. Normally, we record it around about 2 o'clock in the afternoon on a Thursday. So if you're around 2 o'clock on a Thursday and you think, hey, wouldn't mind going on Captain's Run, you can join us. Of course, myself and maybe even Joel will be with us this week, who knows? But there, you jolly well go. I think we spoke about the Lee Warwick, and of course they've done Wakey and Wigan to death. Great game, Wakey Wigan. It was a crack. I mean, all that. It was still a great game of rugby league. Some of the tries, absolute beauties. I mean, really, really good game. That's what Cup Rugby League is all about. We've got 2 great semis on the horizon. We'll get into them nearer the time. But I've got. I want to just go to Lee and to Steph. A much improved performance versus the week prior. Edwin Pape, who'd have thought? You bring your Pape back and you certainly look better on the front foot. A lot of people think that last pass was forward though to Lockie, but we'll leave that. It's in the record books. Yeah, there you go. But look, I mean. I said it to you straight after the game. I called you. If you had a kicker, mate, you win that game. Well, you might not win it, but you'd been in the box seat. You'd have been 14-6. And it's like every year me and you talk about kicking, and we thought you'd got the golden goose when you brought Cook in, especially when we saw him in the preseason kicking for fun. And I get this bit about confidence and all the rest of it, but I mean the worst bit was Gaz O'Brien, and O'Brien's been exemplary. These things happen, but from your perspective, is that your thoughts? Because I mean, Cookie's an 80% pluser, no matter where he's kicking from, and he's well off.
Yeah, he has been, yeah, and I think he could find himself in a bit of trouble, if I'm being honest with you. Coming with really big expectations, and that obviously comes with pressure and understandable. And we all know Adrian Lamb always says it takes 10, 15 rounds before some of these NRL. I remember. What's he called? Junior Moores at Castleford having an awful season at Castleford first year, and then went on to do what he did. But when Gaz O'Brien's playing so well at fullback, you've then got Bailey Hodgson and David Armstrong coming back very, very soon. So where's Gaz O'Brien going to fit in? For me, I'd put him back in at 6 at the moment because he's playing that well. You can't drop him. The only player you can drop out of that spine position for me at the moment is Cook. Which would be a shame because he does need his opportunity, and we are only 7 rounds in. It's very easy to get excited and upset or whatever. You've just got to sometimes let things pan out, and I hope it works out for him. I really do. But it's how you respond to pressure, isn't it? And that pressure is 100% coming because you've got a marquee player in David Armstrong coming back. Gaz O'Brien playing really well and played really well at 6 for Lee last year as well. So that pressure is coming, but goal kicking can win you games. It's the diff. And if you look at Lee this season, there's 2 performances. Obviously, Wigan and Warrington were in the league. They were given a good hiding, and rightly so. But Wakefield, they lost that game for goal kicking. It was 3 tries apiece. St Helens, they lost through goal kicking. So
It's a big headache. It's a big headache.
It's massive. It's so because there's so many good teams in Super League now. It is the difference. So having a great goal kicker, look at Kieran at Wigan, fantastic. Really good goal kicker. Jowett at Wakefield, it can be the difference between playoffs and not. As the season goes on. So it's definitely a concern for Lee, and but it was a concern when Gaz O'Brien was there. His consistency wasn't brilliant. But it is what it is. They need to find an answer to it. Whether they've got that at the moment, who knows?
Well, we'll have to wait and see. But I think it's important that we address it. A lot of discussion in the WhatsApp group around Cook, and at this moment in time, I'm with you. You can't drop Gareth O'Brien, so he's in a lot. He's got a bit of trouble there. We know he's a good goal kicker, but for whatever reason, and let's not forget as well, the pack's been changed, and I thought the pack looks a lot better this week. And Robbie Muller's been incredible. I mean, Robbie Muller, the minutes he's doing. I mean, I counted he probably did 65 minutes on Saturday. Just incredible. I mean, I know he dropped the ball. It was his first carry when he came back on, and you talk about goal kicking at 10-all. Mark Sneed from the side changes the game 12-10. And that's the importance of goal kicking, getting your nose in front. Love your honesty, mate. We'll keep an eye on that. Thanks, Rebecca, for your chat, for your beer. Really appreciate it. And I must mention Keith Lambert because he'd be very upset if I didn't. Keith, good evening to you. Thanks for your beers the last couple of weeks in the Bluebell. It's been absolutely lovely to see you and, of course, the missus. And we'll look forward to your company at Club Wembley for the Challenge Cup. And on that note, I did say every week we're going to say why should you become a member here at Super League Raw? Because we don't make a big thing of actually what you get. We ask you to become a member, but we don't get what we got. Last week, I went through this with you all, which is, of course, the WhatsApp group and what you get. Of course, if you're 6 again or your team talk, you get access to the WhatsApp group. There's a main debating group 24/7 in there. Login details for all the behind-the-scenes shows, such as the after-show party and Hooter and Tackle Talk, etc. They've got their own groups going on. All member announcements go through there, where we're meeting up before games and the rest. That's what you get there. But there's more than that. Let's move on to this one, okay? Super League Raw, a community like no other. Exclusive discounted tickets. Yeah, tickets. There's free tickets that we give out every now and again. There's also competitions. And, of course, as Super League Raw members, any competition that we do, you automatically get access to those competitions. We're upping our game this year as well. We're in the process of organising a Super League Raw Ladies Day at the races. That has gone down really well with the members, where we're going to go to the races. I think that's August time. There are quite a few in, and that's going to be a cracking day where it's going to be a breakfast, coaches to the races, probably an Italian, and then back to the Bluebell for a band at the end of the night, a proper do. Then we've got the Super League Raw Christmas party. That's being organised in Huddersfield because it's right in the middle, if you consider that we've got members that are down in the northwest and up in Hull. We're going to do that in Huddersfield. And again, pre-planning for that is underway. So like I say, we have a community that gets together. We all get on, regardless of the teams that we support. And we're going to do more of these events as we go through the year. And, of course, pre- and post-game meetups. The beautiful thing about our community, I mentioned the tackle talkers this week are going to Lee against York together at York. They're having a meal before, and they've organised that themselves. New friends, great debate. And I think it's fair to say, if you listen to these podcasts, because they're a part of this community and because they're around very knowledgeable members, their impression of the game, their knowledge of the game, their wider scope in terms of their knowledge of other teams, it really does expand, and they're loving every single minute of it. So there's just another reason why you should think of becoming a member. Speaking of competitions, and of course members already enrolled, we mentioned this last week. Would you like to come and join Super League Raw at Club Wembley? So if your team's got through this week, maybe you're thinking of, do I want to do this, do I not? Well, hey, Club Wembley. Come and join us at Club Wembley. The competition, there's the QR code for this. You can enter from as little as £2 or for 5 entries, £10. And we were going to be giving away, or we are giving away, 2 free tickets to Club Wembley. Come and join Super League Raw at Club Wembley. We'll be meeting there nice and early. Wonderful concourses, great beer, great times, the best seats in the house. And you can come to Club Wembley with us. A great, great perk for coming here to Super League Raw. And I did say that I was going to announce a new competition today. And this is it. We are going to Village Street for Magic Weekend. Village Street, a premium concourse at the Hill Dickinson Stadium. That's right. That's where we're going. The Super League Raw members, they've already got the tickets, but yours truly purchased 2 extra tickets for this to give away. This is a weekend pass with Super League Raw in Village Street at Magic Weekend. The best seats in the house, padded seats right on halfway. Both days 1 and days 2. This competition is a beauty because it's a Magic and because it's 2 days. The tickets, of course, are a little bit more. Therefore, to enter, you can enter for as little as a £5, or you can have, again, you have 5 entries for £20. All money that we raise from these competitions goes back into grassroots rugby league. So if you want to chance around, there is the QR code. If you're listening to this on a podcast, go over to our website, go to the shop. All the details you need are there. You have the opportunity of joining Super League Raw Weekly at the Challenge Cup final in Club Wembley or at Magic Weekend at Village Street. That is what is up for grabs. Boys, it's got to be said, lads, not a bad prize, that, is it? Well worth a little punt, I would say. What's your thoughts, gentlemen?
Fantastic prize, Dave. Brilliant.
Anybody that's been to one of these, and gets in these premium seats and concourses, they're just something different. Like Club Wembley, for example. You've seen all the Sky Sports presenters, all the rugby league players, coaches, and commentators that you see on TV, week in, week out, walking past you, and you can just speak to them. You don't get that opportunity elsewhere. And you can be spending a similar amount of money on seats that are far worse than what you get in there. So you've got to think about that too, the premium seats.
Yeah, if you're a member already, of course, you're already automatically enrolled. And of course, if one of the members who have already purchased tickets were to win it, then of course, we'd probably roll the competition again because that's what we do. So like I say, but yeah, opportunity knocks. All the details you need are on our website. You could be joining us at Magic Weekend, both days 1 and day 2. At Village Street. All tickets now in Village Street have gone. I think there's only 800 seats in Village Street, and we have got a very large community going down there. I think we've got about 60 of us going to this. So you're going to be with friends. You can get to know us better. What an opportunity that is. So there you go. Just more reasons to consider becoming a part of this wonderful community here at Super League Raw. Right, let's get into this. Banging or hanging? Yes, let's do a little bit of banging or hanging whilst we've got a little bit of time. And Greg, I'll start with you. Joel Tompkins. First of all, we wish him well. There's a lot of rumour that this is a health concern. It hasn't been confirmed that, but there's a lot of rumour that that's what this is. So first of all, of course, we wish Joel well. This is going to be a tricky one now for Catalan. I mean, Ryan Sheridan, I think, Mitchell Pearce, and remind me, it's Mickey Mack, isn't it? Mickey Mack taking over charge. This is bad news, isn't it?
It is. It's not. If it is a health issue, we wish him all the best. It came out of the blue as well. Certainly nobody was really expecting this one. It was just a sudden announcement that he'd left Catalan, or he wasn't going to be their coach anymore. Yeah, it's pretty hanging for Joel Tompkins, and it's pretty hanging for Catalan. I think he was just beginning to get them something like after struggling kind of last season after McNamara. They party country with McNamara, and he was just, I think, starting to get things back in place. Like I say, Don and Sexton were looking like starting to look like a good combination in the middle there. So, whatever we don't want to cause unnecessary rumours to fly around. So whatever it is, he's got our best wishes, and let's hope he gets resolved soon for all the parties involved.
Yeah, absolutely. Couldn't agree with you more. We extend our best wishes to Joe, no doubt about that at all. Steph Tyler Dupree announced at Castleford gives them some much needed size for 2027.
Yeah, still got a lot to prove. I think Tyler from his time at Wigan moved to Toulouse, doing a pretty decent job for them there. I still think he needs to go up another level for me to get to the form he was showing at Salford, which attracted Wigan to sign him. But I think it's a good move for him. Castleford definitely need someone of his calibre, and if he can capture that form of where it's a similar kind of situation, isn't it? You know, Salford and Cass. I think it might be a good move for him and a good move for Cass as well. So I'm excited to see how he goes there.
Yeah, no, like I say, much needed size. If there's one criticism of Castleford, the pack, it needs to be
Is it
bigger.
a Singleton replacement, that you think?
I would say so.
Yeah, and that's definitely an upgrade for Cass, isn't it?
100%, mate. Joel Max Jowett, again, rumour has it he's off from Wakefield. I do know that today in the Mark Applegard press conference, he was asked over Max Jowett. Of course, as you'd expect, didn't say anything. He's a Wakey player. And of course, he's got Matatafa in there who's playing really well. So, but Max Jowett, I mean, I'm hearing that Zach Sinney might be leaving Castleford. That's not been announced yet. But I'm hearing that Zach Sinney could be on his way out of Castleford. So that would, I know they've got Rooney and I know they've got, oh, dear Lord, Blake, haven't they?
Tough.
Blake Taff. So, again, even though Castleford's been rumoured for Jowett, this points to me is it would appear that, Roger Tuivasa-Sheck's going to be fullback. That's the only conclusion you can get from this, isn't it?
Pretty much. I think that's where you'd need to be coming over to England. I think, especially that position would be better for him. I think it would just suit his style better. The problem is Max Jowett is a very, very good player, and we love him here at Super League Raw. We love Max Jowett, and for him to go to Cass, I think would be a step back for him again because not because of the club, but because of the amount of players that are playing in his position. So he's going to have the same problem. They've got too many people fighting for that position. Yeah, so Max needs to go to a club where you need a standout fullback, or somewhere where he can go and he can, whether he goes and plays in a centre position or a wing. I don't know if that's.
Here's one for you, Joel. Here's one for you though. If he did go to Cass, Dejan Arce, he hasn't ripped up many trees at 6, and we've seen Max play there at Wakey a few times and look the part.
But then he's actually gonna get the spot over him though. What I want for Max is to become a squad player, because for me he should be starting. He's that good, and he can kick a ball as well. That's to be said for some people. Could he go to Lee?
Yeah, there you go. Steph's putting his hand up. But where would he play though? Because you've got Armstrong, you've got Hodgson.
6.
You put him in at 6 over Cook.
No, absolutely.
That might be a shout.
I'm not saying Adam Cook isn't gonna go and become a brilliant player for Lee, but Max Jowett has played 6 for Wakefield and done a really, really good job. But the biggest thing is goal kicking. We've already talked about it tonight. So why would Lee not have a look at Jowett if he comes available?
Yeah, no, I completely agree. Remind me, it was a tight game, Lee Warrington, wasn't it, the weekend? Tight. The pack stood up really well to Warrington. Yeah, just comments in the chat, just saying. Anyway,
these packs rubbish.
Yeah, terrible.
Do you know what? Having him at 6, is a good shout there, Steph, because he will give you what you've been screaming for, and regardless of how good Cook is or not. That will be an excellent replacement.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting. And I tell you, I mean, after he's having a good season, Reggie. Cameron Scott as well. It's come out today that he's been offered out to other clubs. Of course, Ned McCormack is coming in on loan. Bird's playing well, and Lee McCormack's well down the pecking order there. Your thoughts on that? Cam Scott. Is Ned McCormack going to York, isn't he? So Ned McCormack's is took in on loan for York. They fancy him. Could Leeds be losing Ned McCormack? Good play, Ned McCormack.
Yeah, he is. Yeah, it's strange that there's been a lot. There's been a lot of movement in the kind of the market, if you want to call it that, over the last few weeks with different players going to different teams on loan for a week-long loan or a month-long loan. There's clearly kind of, well, it's clearly trying to get players fit, trying to, I think the injury situation has maybe spooked a lot of teams, and they want their players to get as much game time as possible so they could step up and step in. But Cam Scott, yeah, interesting one that. Be interesting to see with him being offered round. I'm sure there's quite a few teams he could in the Super League he could walk straight into and start. I'm thinking, maybe York or something like that. Yeah, interesting one. York, maybe Huddersfield. Joel?
Well, do you know what? I was just going to say, could Max even come to Huddersfield?
Well, yeah. Cam Scott or Max, yeah.
You think so? That many players that are playing in that position, you'd have to lose someone.
Well, the thing is, though, look, we've got off contract though. Like even if I can't remember if Tui's off contract this year or next year. I'm not sure if he's staying or not. But if he wasn't, that'd be a shout for him to come for us at 6. I'd have him at 6.
Yeah. Yeah, it'd be interesting. Of course, Ben Curry, of course, signing for Warrington 2-year extension this week. That's good news for Warrington. Be interested to see now who else will follow. There's a few other Warrington players off contracts. I would expect that because Ben signed his, I think that Warrington are going to be tying up their players in the next couple of weeks, and it'll be interesting to see which ones come out or not. Same for all clubs, really. They'll be tying them up now over the next few weeks in terms of those who are coming off contract. Steph, Harry Newman going to LFC this weekend. I mean, your thoughts on that?
Well, he needs game time, doesn't he? Because obviously Bird is preferred at Leeds at the moment. And probably rightly so. When you've got a player who says they're leaving and going to the NRL, why would Leeds want to keep him in that team unless they absolutely have to put him in? So I'm not surprised that he's got out on loan. It's probably a good thing for FC if they can have him for a period of time, and Newman can put in some good performances for them. Then great. But it's a bit like Cartwright being told he's not coaching there, isn't it? And this is why I hate these mid-season announcements, and you're always putting yourself at the bottom of the pecking order by saying you're going to another club. And I know it's known within the clubs internally anyway, but it's just a weird situation, isn't it? Because you're talking about, Harry Newman, whether you like him or not, or you think he's a crybaby or whatever, he's still an England international. He's still a good player. And you can't have a player of that standard not playing. So I'm not surprised that he's gone out to another Super League club in that respect. I just think the situation it's uncomfortable, isn't it? That's what I'm getting at. So good luck to him. And I'm like Alex has said in our WhatsApp chat, he'll probably get man of the match.
Probably will. Look, I think Newman's going. The McCormack ones really took me by surprise. If they lose Ned McCormack, I think that kid's got a bit about him. That could come back to bite him. Really could, long term. Wonga Blake out for 12 weeks. That's bad news, Joel, for Bradford. Really bad news. He's been playing.
That is a shame. He's been one of their standout players. He's been there, whether he's been scoring the tries, he's certainly been setting some up. And, that's been, I think, the key for Bradford this year, how they've managed to get some over the line. It's a real shame. But this is the character of the squad. Where can they bring somebody in that's going to not just fill the spot, but do a job as well? When he came in at the start of the year, we said that he would be a good player for him. And boy, has he been. But what we do know is when he comes back, he'll come back firing and like he's never been gone. Because he's just that kind of player. He's always been like that. So, it's a massive shame for Bradford, that.
Yeah, it's a huge one. It's a huge one. Bless him. And of course, I said a moment ago with Steph, I'm really intrigued to see what Lee's squad's going to look like based on a couple seems to be carrying knocks at the end of that game against Warrington. Hopefully, they're not too serious and they can field a decent side. Right, let's move on to this then. Of course, it's back, isn't it? We said it's always good when Super League returns. Super League back this weekend, and we're looking forward to this, gentlemen. I'm sure you are too. We'll get into, of course, the ribs of this on the Captain's Run this Thursday. But let's just have a quick look. And I think for me, the interesting thing about this weekend is who the promoted sides are playing. They've got tough tasks on. They really, really have. Of course, Lee, they go to York. Toulouse, they host Hull KR, and Bradford go to Wakey. Greg, that sounds pretty tough going for the new sides. Do you see any of those games going against the grain?
If I'm being honest, not really. No. Be interesting to see how Wakey respond to that defeat from Wigan. That might be the one that may be the closest to the three games you just mentioned. But if I'm being perfectly honest, I think the promoted sides are going to struggle in this round. Toulouse and York, especially because York, they'll be asking fans to bring the boots to the ground. I think this weekend they couldn't feel they didn't have
a lot of players at Newcastle. They don't need to do that.
I think I'm right in saying I think they didn't have an 18th man for the cup game. So it's going to be tough. But there's one thing the first few rounds of this season have shown us. It's that shocks can happen. But I'll be very, very surprised if they do. Let's put it that way.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. I would agree with that. I'll tell you what, though, Steph, on that same topic, round number 9, Toulouse against York, that's going to be an interesting game, isn't it?
Definitely, yeah. And those are the games that we said before the season even started that these clubs will be identified as none of those three teams want to finish the lowest of this, so it's going to be some really interesting games against those guys. But saying that, they've stood up well against the Super League teams, haven't they? So the established Super League teams all doing really well. So, but I think that could be a really good game. I think that could be the game of the round actually in round 9.
In 9, yeah. Speaking of games of the round, the opening one, Joel, Hull FC against Saints. Of course, there's a narrative there now. Will Cartwright be there? Will he not be there? If he isn't there, as we saw with Huddersfield, when Huddersfield went to Wigan, they rallied and they got a great win. I mean, if it's one of those, isn't it? Paul Rowley will probably be looking at it going, why did this have to be this week?
I think it does paint a good narrative, and if he isn't there and they do come out with a win, then we're Hull FC onto something. But sometimes, like the question was asked from us when we beat Wigan, it wasn't so much the Wigan win, it was the York game after. That was the thing that was the acid test, really. So it's going to be interesting to see how this week pans out. And it could even be that John just doesn't turn up on the day. It could be as crazy as that. And wouldn't that be a headline?
I don't see that. He's too smart, mate. If Cartwright's going, he's going to be booted out, and he'll take his compo with him. That ain't going to happen. I really don't. But I'll tell you what, it's an incredible narrative. It's going to be a really, really interesting game. That one, and then Reggie for me could be the tide around this, and we wouldn't have been saying this a few weeks ago. But Leeds Rhinos are going to Huddersfield this weekend. That could be an absolute belter.
I know Huddersfield turned it round out in the last couple of weeks, and Leeds. Miko Sivo though, he's a monster, isn't he? I mean, who will you have up against him, Joel, on that wing? Who'll be up against Sivo?
I would imagine it would be Gagai. Douglas or Gagai.
Gagai.
Yeah. Yeah, maybe. Yeah. Maybe Gagai can cause him some problems there. But it's a mouth-watering clash. Leeds are resurgent. Huddersfield are definitely resurgent. And I think that could very well be a very, very interesting game to watch. I think well, it'll be the measure of how well Huddersfield are doing. You know, a win would be absolutely fantastic, but a narrow defeat would also be good for Huddersfield, given the way they've started the season and given the form that Leeds have been in. Of course, they both had a break this weekend from the cup games, and that often can affect sides when there's a break, and you know that kind of momentum is lost. Will that take the wind out of Huddersfield's sails a little bit? I know Joel will be hoping not. Well, yeah, interesting. I'll be keeping my eye on that one.
Going to be a great game, and of course we'll get into all the detail, the key head-to-heads, the key stats, and we'll have a good chat about that. And of course, for the members who are playing, of course, the Fantasy League and of course the Prediction League, don't forget to do your subs, your predictions, the lot. Make sure you get those in, of course. Great prizes up for grabs, as always. More on that in the Captain's Run. Don't forget, you guys, if you're not going to the game on Thursday night, you can watch us from 6. We'll take you right up to the Sky production. And, of course, if you're on the way to the game, Hull FC against Saints, you can listen in the car on Spotify or Apple. It'd be marvellous to have you company. Right, we're almost there, boys. Great chat tonight. Time to announce our Player of the Month for March. The options, of course, are Ashel Bott, Sevo, Pratt, New, Burgess, Williams, May, Mulhern, Walker, Hamlin-Yilly, Stone, Vagana, and Asiata. Those are the choices for our Player of the Month. Get in the chat now. Who would you give it to? Look at all the bias that comes in now. Here we go. All the colours are going to come out in that chat. Amazing it took Andy Bibby this long. I thought it'd have been straight in with a primrose and bluer. But anyway, Greg, all that aside, who would you give it to out of those 13 players?
Oh, well, it's got to be one of Williams, Walker, or Stone. No, I'm going for Sevo. Make a Sevo.
You're going Sevo for falling over the line against Warrington. Wonderful, fantastic.
No, he's scored some tries. He's done well. He's done well.
Steph, your pick out of those, mate?
George Williams, doesn't it? Because Andy says no. I'm gonna go Ollie Ashall-Bolt for displacing Jyfield and just being in a team that's been promoted. He's been outstanding, so I'm going to go Ollie Ashall-Bolt.
You're going Ollie Ashall-Bolt and Mr. Scholes.
And I am also agreeing. I think it'll be Ollie Ashall-Bolt because he has been by far the best in his isolated position. And I think that for me, out of all the players that are on that screen, they're all great. But he, for me, has been the standout player.
Standout player. Right. Okay. Shall we find out who it's going to be? Here we go. The Player of the Month for March. Here it comes. Unbeaten throughout March, of course, were Wakefield Trinity. And within their side, of course, was Oliver Pratt. If you get into the detail, folks, Oliver Pratt's contribution to Wakefield, if he's not in the team, they probably don't go unbeaten. He scored some very well-timed tries in the month of March. For example, you know, Hull FC, he pops up right before half-time and changes momentum of the game. Did that in another game as well in March. Without Oliver Pratt, would Wakefield Trinity in 2 games have changed the tide right on half-time into their favour? That's how important he was. He was outstanding throughout the month. 4 very well taken tries. 2 of them really changed the momentum in those games. Oliver Pratt, you won't find him getting Player of the Month anywhere else. But if you get into the detail, he was absolutely pivotal to Wakefield Trinity's unbeaten run in March. And that is why he gets the award, because he was that pivotal in getting the W's. Greg, that will, of course, take you by surprise. But you know me, I don't do names. I don't do shirt colours. I just do narrative and who is right. And for me, Oliver Pratt, take a bow, son. Incredible match.
Yeah, mate. Okay, great research. Great stats there. Yeah. Okay, took me by surprise, but I'm not going to argue with you, Dave. You know what you're talking about. So, yeah, well done, Ollie.
Fantastic. Mr. Sale?
Well, I would have picked him, but he nearly cost me £670 at the weekend. Um, thank God for cash out on Bet365 because I still won £100. But no, he has been great, and there's a reason why I backed him to score in that game because he has been outstanding, and I think he's transitioned from centre to wing, hasn't he, in that period of time as well.
Yeah, he plays in
And
multiple roles.
yeah, multiple roles, been brilliant for Wakefield and thoroughly deserving of Player of the Month.
Good man. Mr. Scholes.
Yeah, well, I can't argue with it. Stats are stats. And at the end of the day, if he's been the most consistent player and got the best performance, you know that is what it is. But it is surprising. But the thing is, that's what's good about this league that we have here at Super League Raw. It's done based off your performance and merit, not off what's on the front of your shirt.
Yeah, I think the interesting thing is, for 2 months now, nobody have had Wonga Blake anywhere else other than Super League Raw for February, and now we've got Ollie. And like I say, if you just get into the detail, if you watch his personal contribution to those games, both defensively, some of his defensive reads have been superb, but secondly, like I say, he's just popped up at critical moments in a game that has almost changed both coaches' team talks at halftime. He's just, the old adage, you play until the Uta. This guy plays till the Uta, and he's been incredible. So much so, I even spoke to Darryl Powell about it in terms of, Ollie Pratt. What an incredible contribution, and Darryl Powell waxed lyrical over his contribution as well. So, like I say, it will surprise many. Like I say, sometimes the flair players, we see this on Sky all the time, the flair players get all the flowers. Sometimes you've got to look deeper within, and I'm pretty comfortable that Oliver Pratt, for me, deservedly so, based on his individual performance and the key impact he had in those games in March. For me, I'm comfortable with that. I'm very comfortable. So many congratulations to Mr. Pratt. Right, of course, like I've already said, tomorrow at 7 o'clock is, of course, Championship Rugby League with Mr. Lingard. Me and Mr. Lingard are back tomorrow for more Championship Rugby League. And, of course, you can join us for Super League, of course, the best build-up show for the Super League, round number 8. It's coming your way this coming Thursday night at 6 p.m. Come and join me and the panel to go through all 7 of round 8's games, and we'll be trying our best to predict, but in a season where you can't predict. And for all those people who wait until a result is given to go out and say, well, this travelled well, it's done before the games. It's done on stats. It's done on form. Bottom line is, it's a bit of fun. It's a little bit of detail. It's what it is. It's very easy to predict a game when the final loot is gone. Just saying. Go easy, folks. Go easy. It's all good. It's all good fun. But anyway, as always, been a phenomenal evening of Rugby League chat. We hope you've enjoyed it. Tell your friends about it. We've got quite a few people who've watched us for the first time. We're here every week, 8 p.m. on a Tuesday night. Come and join a bit of Super League Raw Weekly. Tell your friends about us. Spread the gospel. Spread the word. Happy days. Superb stuff. On behalf of myself, Mr. Nixon, Mr. Sale, and Mr. Scholes, enjoy your weekend. Enjoy Captain's Run. Come back and join us for that on Thursday. And, of course, we will be back same time, same place next Tuesday for more Super League Raw Weekly. After show party now, folks, if you remember. Bye for now.